Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Allie, and today I have a new video idea, so I'm just gonna just wing it, honestly. This year, I have mainly been reading horror. It has been my go-to. I pick up other books and I kind of struggle with them a little bit. But then I read Carrie, which is horror, but also kind of has those elements of female rage, some talk, some like feminism talk. Not a whole lot, but a little bit with the whole, concept of her period, getting her period and stuff. And it kind of just made me start spiraling into books that have this like element of feminism and female rage that I was like, I'm eating it up. I'm loving it. And I was like, I need to do a whole video on these kind of books. So that's what I'm doing. I have quite the stack here and I am super excited to jump into each of these. We have My Husband by Ventura. I'm sensing like some feminine rage or feminism within dealing with a relationship, with a spouse, marriage. Stepford Wives. This is a rather old edition that I picked up from my library. My library is actually coming through on all of these. But Stepford Wives, I feel like is just such a classic. I want to read more of Ira Levin's books in general, so I was like, it is time to pick this one up, and it is pretty short, so I feel like I can get to it pretty fast and complete it. I have seen the movie. I would love to rewatch it though. I do have a couple movies on my radar for this video concept that I've been really wanting to watch again. So yeah, this is one of them, but I do want to read it first because I've never read it. And while I can't confirm how close it is to the movie, I think we're going to still have those feminism aspects of what makes Stepford Wives, and also the rage. Also have The Vegetarian, which I have heard amazing things about, and I have heard that there is female rage in this book. Then we have Nightbitch, which I've already read. This was contender number 1, and there is definitely some female rage in this. A lot to unpack with motherhood and the day-to-day things that I feel like mothers go through that is taboo, that we're not supposed to talk about, the struggles, also just becoming a mother in general. It's kind of the things that I feel like some people shy away from reading or watching about because motherhood is perfect, and when in reality it's just not, and there is so many feelings and elements of it that women feel, and yeah, I thought it was a good fit for this video for sure. And then Ripe, which I wasn't sure if this was going to make the cut because I didn't know if it had the elements of that, but from what I can gather from the synopsis, and with starting this one, I definitely see this leaning more towards feminism versus feminine rage because we are tackling the workplace and a woman who is going out on her own from her parents for the first time in a city by herself, and she's navigating everything from her romantic life to her career, to living alone, and I think it's going to touch a lot on those aspects. So I'm actually really excited for this stack. I think we're going to be covering just about everything from marriage, relationships with both of these two, how the woman is viewed or how things are different from a woman to a man in a relationship, and kind of breaking those barriers on that and showcasing feminism in a way with equality between people in a relationship. I actually think the same with The Vegetarian from what I've gathered from scanning the synopsis. I think it's going to deal with the relationship aspect as well. And then same with Nightbitch, but also really tackling motherhood and the changes with our bodies and just who we are in general, becoming a mother, and then Ripe, I think, is going to just be kind of hitting all of those, but from maybe a young adult standpoint. By young adult, I just mean kind of just starting your life out with your career and relationships and living on your own and all of that. So I'm excited. I feel like we're going to cover all the bases. I feel like we're going to have a lot of talk on feminism. We're going to have a lot of female rage, hopefully. I'm trying to manifest it because I want that right now. And I'm super excited for this TBR. And I have already read one of these, Nightbitch. I couldn't wait. I had to read it. And the trailer just dropped with Amy Adams, so it just made me even more excited to read this. And I was actually in the middle of reading this when the trailer dropped. I knew that the movie was coming and I knew that it was Amy Adams, but I didn't know it was coming this soon. So getting the trailer when I was halfway through the book was just amazing. Chef's kiss. But yeah, I'm gonna take you guys to when I was reading Nightbitch. One day, the mother was a mother, but then one night, she was quite suddenly something else. An ambitious mother puts her career on hold to stay at home with her newborn son, but the experience does not match her imagination. Coming at you looking so hot. It is hair dye day, and so you know what that means. I am going to be putting on a movie because I like to do my hair dye and horror. And I'm reading female rage, feminine horror, if you will. And so one of my favorites, and funny enough, was just referenced in Sabrina Carpenter's new music video for Taste, with Jenna Ortega, is Death Becomes Her. I love that movie so much. I watched it growing up and it's still just a classic that like I love to go back and watch. Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn, are you kidding me? I'm really excited to watch it again and maybe cook up something for the season. Anyways, I started Nightbitch. And I am loving it. Absolutely, like, loving it. I am hoping to finish this today because I've made it pretty far and thought I would share with you guys what I thought so far. If you're unaware, this says, one day the mother was a mother, and then one night she was quite suddenly something else. This is about a woman who, her and her husband, got together, and he has his career, she has hers. She is an artist, and she would work for different, what is it called? Like, galleries and stuff, and kind of be like the middleman, like getting certain artists for certain gallery events, and just working in the art world, coming up with her own art projects and just creating. I can relate. I also can relate to this just cutthroat take on motherhood as well, because she finds herself pregnant and they're excited for this new journey in life, but she doesn't realize how much it's going to change her life when her baby is born and is put into a daycare, and it gets to a point to where being a working mother and balancing that work and home life and being a mom is starting to become super challenging for her. She's feeling a lot of guilt because she's having to go and pump in the bathroom at work, and it really just ties in a lot of those aspects of the postpartum, what people don't really talk about. It's almost like a taboo thing because motherhood is so glorified, and like, don't get me wrong, like, I feel badass as a mom. Like, I feel like I can take on the world now because I'm a mom and I've been through that, and it literally puts you through so much. But I feel like they don't shine the light enough on what not only our bodies go through, but what our minds and our mental health goes through with being a mother. And this book, I swear, has ripped me open so many times. I am a mom of two. I have two boys who I love dearly, and One of them came super, super early in my life. I was a teen mom, and it was a really hard journey for me to go through, let alone what the outside world viewed me as, and the comments that were made, and just everything that went on with that. Also, the harsh reality of me being able to say that I made it through that. I did that. It's one of the hardest things I've done in my life, but I did it, and it does make me feel very strong and, like I said, like a badass, because I was able to overcome that and to go through that. But it was never easy. And also, the harsh reality part side of it is that because of our strict laws on women's health and women's rights, I know that, like, that is not a life for everyone. It was extremely hard, and the harsh reality is that some people are forced into that life and are going to be forced to take on what I had to take on, which I don't regret for a single minute, but I know is not for everyone. With my second son, I was very fortunate to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. With my second son, I felt like my life was more put together being a stay-at-home mom with a toddler and being able to welcome another baby and make sure that they're close together and they, you know, have a sibling and somebody in life besides their parents. And then I went through the worst postpartum depression. It was intense. And to this day, I have seasonal depression every April and May-ish. And my son was born in May. And I swear it's like my subconscious like reminder of how bad that postpartum depression was. And every year I'm triggered and thrown back into that seasonal depression. It's an intense thing that women go through. Not just, I feel like everybody just is like, oh yeah, labor and delivery and, you know, whatever, which yeah, that's a thing besides itself. But it's the mental storm that goes on, and some people have really difficult pregnancies where they go through that mental while they're pregnant. Others, like me, was my postpartum journey. These are the topics that I really feel like I'm going to be hitting on, although I do have some fun picks when it comes to my TBR that will be maybe a little bit more lighthearted or just touch more on like the feminism side between like the difference between men and women and what we face day to day. But this one is definitely the motherhood aspect, and it's hitting pretty hard for me. I don't think Allie from My Baby is 8 now, so like 8 years ago would have been able to read this book. I feel like I would have picked it up and put it right back down. It would have been way too triggering and way too hard to read this. But I feel like some people might read this and just think, God, this is just irritating and just giving motherhood a bad name. But really, to me, I feel like this is done in a way to where, yes, there's that sarcasm. Yes, there's that kind of just cutthroat, harsh reality. But there's also this pureness to it of this mother who absolutely adores her baby. It's not that she is wishing him away or is neglecting him or hurting him. She's coming to terms with this new life that she has to have and what this means for her. So she has since quit her job because her husband makes more money. So like, of course she would have to quit and stop her dream. Although she went to school, she went to college and went for her dreams, she has to stop all of that because she finds out that her son is being neglected at daycare. That's another harsh reality, is the childcare for your kids for working mothers. Now being a stay-at-home mom with a toddler, she is just kind of seeing her life slipping away from her. She acknowledges these milestones and these amazing things with her kid, but she also is realizing how much is slipping by her. Thinking about like the different projects that she could be working on, thinking about all of those aspects and like where is her life going, like once her baby is older, like what is she doing for her life? But not just that, it really tackles, I feel like this first part has been really tackling her identity. It's like an identity crisis, and then that is what I went through. I so went through that. I just thought, oh my gosh, like, once my kids, not let alone move out, what is my life? But like, when my kids start school, what is my life? Like, what is my career going to be? Like, what am I going to do for me? And I feel like this book touches on that so well that now, years later, it's so healing for my soul. And I'm like, I needed this. Because of that, all of this rage she's feeling towards her husband, her husband works Monday through Friday out of town and is only home on the weekends to help out and stuff. And that in itself is, whew, oh my goodness. But any type of complaints or comments he has obviously is going to fill her with rage because she's just like, I'm trying to do this, but it's hard. It's hard being a mom in general. It's hard taking care of a little one who's trashing your house and has endless energy, and you're not just caring for yourself anymore. You know, those days where like you could literally live off the smallest amount of food and water and just lay in bed and just, that is just your life for the day. You can't do that. You have a kid. You can't do that. It's like you can't even have those days anymore, and then asking for it on the weekend from the other parent and it being like, I'm almost like frowning down on you about that. It's going to fill somebody with rage. And that's when she starts to knowing a patch of hair growing on the back of her neck, and she starts to realize that she has some type of like odd forming on her back tailbone, like the tail. And she is convinced she's turning into a dog. And one spot that I marked that I just loved the way it was written. So they're in a grocery store and they're shopping and they pass by and she gets him a cookie. And she says, bite, pointing at the cookie, share. He held the cookie out to her and she nibbled on the edge. Thank you, she signed, and he clapped his dirty hands. She wished she had an entire cookie, a dozen cookies. But no, that wasn't right. She didn't want cookies. She went to the meat counter and bought 3 thick ribeye steaks, the smell of pennies and blood and death spinning her into a depthless hunger. They were so beautiful. How had she never before noticed their beauty, the deep red of the meat set starkly against the white swirls of fat, each a tiny masterpiece, she thought, licking her lips. She asked for more, 2 pounds of ground chuck. On second thought, make it 3, a half dozen bratwurst. About that stew meat, it looked delicious. How about a pound of that? And look at that top round roast. That one that's the size of a possum, she said, pointing to the butcher, who chuckled as he retrieved it from the case, and some pre-made kebabs for good measure, for vegetables, because that was healthy, she said, getting a hold of herself. Yes, vegetables were very civilized. Dogs wouldn't buy vegetables. Listen to what you're saying, she said to herself. So it's like this whole like denial too of like, I'm turning into a dog. No, I'm not. I'm turning into a dog. No, I'm not. You know, but there's all of these like animal instincts coming out of her. And I just love the way this is written too. It's so creepy and eerie at the same time as being just fun and entertaining. And at the core of it being a book about the hard parts of motherhood, although some of the good ones are mixed in between. I am loving it, rather loving it, and I also loved this part of it, which really hit deep with me. She starts playing dog with her son. They're kind of making it as a joke because she's like, I'm not turning into a dog, but like, my kid is liking this bit, we can like stick with it and play it or whatever. And she's becoming desperate for her kid to like take naps and go to bed at night and, you know, just certain things. So she's like, if we make it into like this game. They walk to the neighborhood hardware store and get dog treats and a shiny stainless steel bowl of water that she likes very much. She tries out the bowl once they get home and the boy laughs. Then he tries it too. He wants to drink all of his drinks from then on from the dog bowl like a dog, and she does also. So they do. They share with the cat because they're good dogs. She is becoming a better mother because she is becoming a better dog. Dogs don't need to work. Dogs don't care about art. Why had this never occurred to her before? She likes the idea of being a dog because she can bark and snarl and not have to justify it. She can run free if she wants. She can be a body and instinct and urge. She can be hunger and rage, thirst and fear, nothing more. She can revert to a pure throbbing state. She had that freedom when she gave birth, had screamed and shat and sworn, and would have killed had she needed to. Her husband nearly passed out from the noises coming from her mouth. That's what he called them, noises. I absolutely loved these parts of the book because it was like talking about those motherly instincts and stuff, but also how animals have those instincts as well. So it kind of plays into the dog-like qualities that are going on here with her animal instincts of craving meat and wanting to drink out of the dog bowl and letting her son do it too as a fun game, and talking about how, sure, I can be a better mother, but I'm just gonna be an animal. I'm gonna be a dog. If I snarl, I'm getting howl. When I'm in pain, I can snarl at you and I'm mad and growl at you, and you're just gonna have to take me as I am if this is what you just want me to be. And that's what I was really taking away from this. Another thing is that she is obsessed with the work by Wanda White, who wrote A Field Guide to Magical Women, a mythical anthropography, if that's how you say it. So there's quotes throughout the book of that too, and then her writing an email to this woman being like, I need to know more about this and like this magic that these women hold and what this means, and it's just so beautifully done. Not to mention the women who are at book babies at the library every week and at these other events who are kind of like MLM moms, but they're like wanting her to come and join them to sell herbs. And she's just kind of like, oh, that's not, for me or whatever. And they keep encouraging her. And then one night, this pack of dogs show up. And one of them resembles the like, it's kind of like a clique of moms. So there's like that main mom and then like the other moms with her. And these dogs resemble those moms. And when she gets close to one of the dogs, it even smells like the strawberry shampoo that mom wears. So she is convincing herself that these moms are these dogs. It's just so fun and just so silly horror that I'm just loving it.
Stop staring, be quiet. Look at me, there I go, choking on my silence. And I don't think you want me cause I wanna keep it private. And I don't think you know me if you're not one of my 5 friends. But it's my own fault, I can't give in. I have to go, suck up on the top. Interest in my grab though, not too many kind folks. The reason I struggle because I'm fucking shy. I never wanna show my face sometimes. And I got trouble looking people in the eye. Cause when I do I just forget off. I wanna do it, I'ma feel like I'ma die. I prefer to stay inside with the lights off. Text before you call me because otherwise it might fall through. Any social, but I had it so well. The crowd's getting loud, I'm a vibe in the stairwell. Cause it's my own fault, I can't give in. I have to go, suck up on the top floor. Apologize, cause my goodbyes. Let's reschedule when I'm not shy. And I don't wanna show my face sometimes. And I got trouble looking people in the eye. Cause when I do, I just forget all.
Break while I watched the movie and went and showered so I could get my hair air drying because I would like to style it, see how it turned out. I forgot to mention that not only was I re-dyeing it red again, I went back and forth on should I re-dye my hair red or should I go a different color that I was really wanting to do for some looks. But I also have a list of looks that I really want to do with brighter red hair, so I'm going to start tackling those soon since I went ahead and went red again. And it's in the stage of drying, but I cut my hair again and did kind of like a shag, another shag look, but I went a little bit more bold this time. It's still a rather long, like I left my regular length, but just cut my layers back so that it's like a shag style again, but it's just like a long shag style. I didn't want to go too short with fall and winter around the corner. Anyway, since I finished Nightbitch, there's a couple more things I wanted to mention that I marked. One of them talks about Like, her fur was gone, the tail lying somewhere in the underbrush, her claws receded back into her fingers. She still felt very much the pulse and pant of the animal she had become. Her sense of smell had distracted her that morning, causing her to clean more and more. Talks about how she longed to tend to her son the way she felt she should, licking him and biting at his feet lovingly, yowling as they played, and feeding him raw meat. And though the animalness of her being remained, she was also inside her full human mother being. Back to the usual worries and insecurities, the thoughts of career success, the burden of failure, the marital resentments, the feminist rage, and so on and so forth. All of this was back, yet somehow transformed. She felt she could abide it as long as she still had Nightbitch, as long as she had that. And Nightbitch is just overall just this part of her that is the raging female that is just like, I need out. You know, sometimes I need out. I can be this mother and I can do these motherly things, but I have to have a part of me that is for me only. And right now, that's Nightbitch. It's so good though. That was one of my favorite spots. I also marked one of her like new friends talking to her and like trying to confide in her, and they said she just really wanted to talk because of Nightbitch's own recent transformation, bold and trend-setting, she called it. Then added, "I love how you don't care what anyone thinks." She added jokingly again that she didn't want to come off as totally weird, and she hoped her new friend would be able to hold what she had to tell her in confidence, because having this sort of thing get around could creep everyone out. "Sometimes I'm up all night roaming the neighborhood. That's how bad it is." Hope swelled within Nightbitch, a hope that she had not known she had been harboring. A brilliant magnanimity and feeling of goodwill towards all women, all mothers, for how she had longed to have just one person in whom to confide all of her most private urges and thoughts. I don't know about you, other mothers out there. Honestly, women in general, whether you're a mother or not, I don't know about you guys, but I have felt that to my core almost my entire life, of just wanting to be seen and heard and feeling like I'm kind of constantly just the background person and looking for those people that I can really confide in and be my true authentic self in. And now, much later in my life, I feel like although I can confidently say I have some people in my life that I do feel more comfortable with, I feel like now it's almost like a thing in my head where I'm just programmed this way to where it's still hard for me to open up, to not bottle things up, and to wholeheartedly believe that there's others out there who want to see me succeed as much as I want them to succeed, and that women support system that I just don't or never really had to begin with. And kind of getting all of those childhood trauma type things where it was constantly like hearing comments that would bring down other women or talk bad about other women, and really damages you as a young kid into thinking those things of yourself even. And because of that, I just have always had this like insecurity of finding others who could relate to me, and that I could relate to them, and we can confide in each other, and confident in doing so, you know? So it resonated with me, and I wondered if it would resonate with you guys too. I definitely recommend Nightbitch if you haven't read it yet. And good news, the trailer is now out for the adaptation of this with Amy Adams, which is amazing. I feel like it can go really well or it can go really bad, because just the thought of a woman who thinks she's turning into a dog and those special effects that are going to be needed and all of that, after reading this, I'm like, this is a very unhinged book. So I'm just wondering how unhinged they're going to make the movie. It does kind of seem not cheesy, but kind of like it could really be cheesy. So I don't know. I hope it's not ruined, but I hope it's just more than anything a good time, and that it's something that's out there for even people who don't read and that need that like motherly support of being like, you're not alone, other mothers are feeling this too, people just don't talk about it. And that's what I really got out of this book, and I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars. It was really good. And what a way to start off my reads for this week. I still have a stack to get to. And what should we start next? I've heard amazing things about The Vegetarian. I also really wanted to get to Ripe. I honestly don't even know if this one falls into this category of this video. I think I seen somewhat, of a woman who is like trapped in a corporate nightmare between the long hours, toxic bosses, and unethical projects. She also struggles to reconcile the glittering promise of a city where obscene wealth lives alongside abject poverty and suffering. So I know it's going to touch on like other things, but it seems like it's going to be a strong female lead. So I'm hoping I will be able to get something out of this that's kind of like feminist and women and maybe even the workplace. And it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a touch of also kill the rich, feed the poor type of, storyline a little bit. Maybe not. I could be way off. It's kind of one that I was hoping to go into a little bit more blindly. So I don't know. If it doesn't really fit in with this, I liked the cover and I thought it would go well with some of my picks. So we will see how that one turns out. Also, it wasn't going to include my husband in this, but this is one that I've been needing to get to because of a book club. And I was reading that there is some female rage in this story. I am now starting Ripe, and it is depressing me. This is by Sarah Rose Etter, and I started it today in parent pickup line, and I was just like, oh man, what am I getting myself into? It has quite the take on things. We have a pomegranate on the cover here, and we're going to be getting some definitions throughout the book on different parts of the pomegranate. And between the cover and my bookmark, which is from In the Void, one of my book clubs that I follow, she does bookmarks, and this was one of them for 1/4, and the pomegranates on the top. It was just like the perfect bookmark to use with this book. So this follows Cassie, who is going out into the real world. She is moving from her parents' home out to San Francisco, and we're starting to learn the harsh reality of the streets of San Francisco. And she has a homeless man who lives outside her window. She literally sees a man himself like right in front of her, and she talks about, what does she call them? Is it the dreamers? Believers. The believers are the ones on the train, the transportation that she takes to work every day, are the ones that are just like going with the flow, stuck on their screens, not really having too much emotion left, but just having to just ride the wave. And she's trying to navigate not getting to that point, but at the same time, she kind of feels like she's losing control of her life. We are also already like dabbling into her friendships, which have led to people giving her drugs. So now she's dealing with a drug addiction. There is a lot of triggers with this book already. It's been really, really hard, and I feel like it's one of those books that just when you think like it can't get worse, it's gonna kick you down again. And so I am having a little bit of a hard time with it. I feel like I need to read like a happy year book while I'm reading this one. I feel like I can read horror all day long, literally slashers. But I pick up a book like this and it hurts and it cuts so deep that I'm just like, I need something lighthearted. So yeah, I will check back in with you guys whenever I finish this, but I did want to just pop in because I have started my second book out of the bunch right after I wanted to film my intro, but I also wanted to pop in once again because, guys, I became an It Girl, potentially. It Girl Vitamins reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be an It Girl, and I said, I am definitely on a health kick journey right now, trying to anyways. So I said, sure, send me your stuff, because that's what they were wanting to do. And I said, I can try it out and let you know. So I will have a link down below as well as my code, which I'll throw up on the screen. I think I have a code. I have to double check that, but if I do, it's on the screen, and I will have my stuff down below. This is not me like trying to influence you. It's just there if you want to go check it out, and then if you're curious and are. I absolutely thank you for the support. I am not sponsored, but I am affiliated with my code. The packaging was just like so cute. I wanted to like mention it, and the fact that I'm going to be starting mine, so I wanted to talk about them just a little bit. But I will be, hopefully, if I don't forget, checking in with you guys in the future to let you know like how they're doing for me, if I'm seeing results, all of that kind of ordeal. But I thought that this would be the perfect video to talk about this, because I am talking about females and the female body and the things we go through. And not only do I have a gut one, but I also have a skin vitamins. So I just thought it would be like the perfect video to like toss this in. But you can follow me on my beauty Instagram or my beauty TikTok. They are both AllieBrienne_MUA. And I will more than likely update over there better than here. But yeah, they sent me over a little note saying that we hope you love It Girl vitamins as much as we do. The It Girl team, so cute. And then the That Girl morning routine, which one you are. Your journey starts now. I've got to sign and date it. I am so excited to try these. I have been taking them for the last 2 days. So I'm just really excited to see how the results are, because these are gummy vitamins, but they taste so good. There's no weird aftertaste or anything. They're just kind of like a fruity taste to them. They both taste a little bit different. One of them tastes a little bit more berry than the other, but both of them are like just fruity, no weird aftertaste. I actually enjoy taking them. They also sent me over, I don't see it, I thought I had it right here on my desk, but I must have used it in there. They sent me over a pen, so now I have an It Girl pen. Thought it was cute. So this first one is the It Girl Gut Detox. It has probiotics and immune enzyme blend, magnesium and potassium, marshmallow root, vitamin B, C, D, and E, digestive and detox blend with sea moss. The gut one is definitely very like berry flavored. They're so good. Then the pink one, retinol, vitamin A, hyaluronic acid, vitamin B, C, the pink one has more of a like almost niacinamide. It's fruity, but it's almost like a strawberry flavor. It's really good too. I love that they're like little hearts. And they are also organic, vegan, cruelty-free, dermatologist developed. I also love the little message on the bottle. It says, "You are holding in your hands the formula to the best you." So cute. Anyways, I thought I'd mention it. Check it out. I'll have it linked down below. And follow me on my beauty Instagram or my TikTok, and I will hopefully update there in a few weeks or so and talk a little bit more about them and yeah, my experience taking them.
I don't wanna be the reason why you make this little lie. What's the point of having pointless conversations for one night? Cause I'm shy, I never wanna show my face sometimes, and I got trouble looking people in the eye. Cause when I do, I just forget and when I do it, I don't feel like
I have in fact finished Ripe, and it was a very hard one to get through. It's very sad girl literary fiction, and I can't even remember how much of this I touched on in my last part of starting this video, but this follows Cassie, who is not only out on her own in the big city. This is the Bay Area in San Francisco, and she's seeing how bad it's become with homeless people and everyone's day-to-day life. She talks about the believers who are like, honestly, like still just kind of flying by the seat of their pants, like trying to reach their dreams and, you know, keeping their head down and just like really going for it. But she can't. She's seeing all of the bad things in the world, and it's making this large, like, black hole over her grow with her anxiety and her depression. And she reaches a boiling over point when her CEOs of the company she works for is asking way too much from her and also asking her to do illegal things. But also when she finds that she is unexpectedly pregnant. I think I might have mentioned this, maybe, I can't remember for sure, I'm all over the place. But she's seeing this guy who is in a relationship with somebody else, and after weeks of dating, he finally tells her, like, oh, by the way, I have a girlfriend, I can't fall in love with you, I'm just in an open relationship, and that's just the one rule, is I can't fall in love with you. But she is falling for him, and then she finds herself pregnant. It's so sad because it touches on so much that I feel like so many women these days can relate to. I feel like it is a modern feminist sad girl literary fiction book. It has all of those elements. It's super, super rough. It's super, super sad. It's gut-wrenching. My eyes were watering throughout it, and I had a really hard time with it. There was a couple of times where I had to set it down because it was too much. You just really feel for this character and everything she's going through. And honestly, I feel like out of anything that I expected from this book, I really just wanted more feminine rage. I feel like this is more where I said in this video, we might just have more feminist takes. That's this one. This isn't going to be full-on rage. This is the sad girl side of feminine rage. Maybe what happens before the rage takes over, if the rage is going to take over. And it was really, really hard to get through for me. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Check your triggers. You have to. That's a must with this one. But I do really like how it was written. I think it was really beautiful. Throughout it, you can see the black hole like getting bigger and bigger depending on like what she's going through. And then also certain like words, there's like definitions for. I liked the style of it. I think it's a really beautiful literary fiction, but so, so sad. I would say only pick up this one if you're used to really sad books, you like feminist reads, and sad girl literary fiction in general. I landed at 4 stars, which is a little surprising for me, but there were so many elements of this that I loved, while also not liking other ones, but knowing why they are meant to be in the book, and even the overall ending, which left me honestly feeling very incomplete. But I couldn't see myself giving it anything lower than a 4-star. So I have not completed another book yet, but I wanted to check in because I'm pretty darn close. I am currently reading My Husband by Maud Ventura, if that's how you say it. This is translated by Emma Ramadan, and I have no idea. I don't know. I just don't know. I really wanted to pause and take a moment to talk to you guys in the middle of this book, but honestly, it's so much like the story's way different, but the vibes are so much like Ripe in a sense where I have nothing to give you guys. I don't know what to say. I just keep thinking, what the am I reading? Like, this is just... It's very odd. It's very strange. I feel like Ripe was leaning more towards like those sad elements that I was just like, I don't know what to say. This is sad. It's kind of gut-wrenching right now. Where with this one, I'm just like, is this lady okay? This one is about this 40-year-old woman who has it all. She has the looks, the beautiful house in the suburbs, the job she likes, 2 healthy children, and most important, the ideal husband whose wealthy background allows her to transcend her own social class. It is definitely a more literary fiction. I feel like there's elements, of horror there, and I feel like this book can get really unhinged in the end, which will be some of that horror, but so far, it hasn't really been any of that, and I think that's kind of leaving me, not gonna lie, a little bit in a rut. I absolutely cannot stand being in this woman's head. She's very insufferable and just dramatic. I hate to say that because I'm talking about a book in my feminism and female rage video, but I'm having such a hard time with this. I think bouncing from one book that really represents just the tragic things that an everyday woman can go through, and just feeling so, oh my gosh, just so awful for this woman. And then jumping to this, where this lady, I kid you not, for 2 chapters was upset because her husband compared her to a clementine. The fruit. Yes, a clementine. Don't get me wrong, I am liking her dialogue sometimes when it comes to her just saying what she feels. Like, she doesn't sugarcoat anything. She just puts it all out there. If she wants to say it, she says it. But that also means we go off on these little tangents, and I'm like, is this gonna make any sense? Is this gonna lead to anything? Is this just wasting my time? I don't know. It's very odd, and it's kind of like she's expecting so much from her husband, and obviously some of it is kind of like, oh, that's kind of shitty, he doesn't do that for her. But other aspects of it, I'm like, girl, you don't even ask him. Like, ask him if he'll do that for you. So they've been married for 15 years. So I'm like, girl, like, if you're unhappy, like, move on. Ask him, like, try to compromise, do something. But she's so obsessed with him that she's so afraid of hurting or making anything go imbalanced, when I feel like they're kind of already there since she's feeling this way. She also, like, hates her children. I feel like she only had her children because her husband wanted children. It's just a really weird, strange read. I don't know how else to put it. I'm gonna need something very unhinged and really weird to happen to pull this book together for me in this last 100-ish pages, and hopefully it does. Because right now I'm just stumped. I'm like, what am I reading? Like, I literally just feel like I'm wasting my time, and the writing really isn't bad. I don't mind it. I just wish that there was more going on than what there was, and I also kind of wish that the things that she fears about her husband, she in return is doing. And that hypocritical type of lifestyle for me is just like not what I enjoy, so I obviously wouldn't enjoy reading it. I don't know. I just feel like this one's not resonating very well with me. I do like the style that it's written in. We have the prologue, which kind of introduces us to what is going to happen in the future. And then the next page is Monday, 6 days earlier. And she talks about each day and really goes into detail. We know every single aspect of her life, everything she does from the time she wakes up to the time she goes to sleep, every thought that she has. It's redundant at some points, but also just very overwhelming. Like, I'm just like, I don't know if I need to know all of this. Maybe I just have too much going on in my head that I'm relating to some of the, not the way that she is, but the overstimulatedness of her. Maybe I relate to that a little bit, that I'm just like, girl, I can't handle you and myself. Anyways, I will check back in with this and let you know what I think, but it is something so far. I don't know if I'm more mad at the first 200 pages of this book or mad at myself for the fact that I requested this or I got it off my Hoopla app, the audiobook, and completely forgot. So I physically read this entire thing while suffering through the first 200 pages when I could have been listening to the audiobook on my Hoopla app. I can't tell you how the audiobook is. I guess I could get on there and just like listen to a chapter or something and let you guys know, but I just read this physically, and the first 200 pages I was thinking about ending things. I know that I touched on a lot of this, I think in my last check-in, about the whole fruit incident, and her and her husband are at this party with their friends, and they're playing this game, which is odd to begin with, of telling each other what type of fruit they resemble, and her husband compares her to a clementine, and he then compares the other woman, his like friend's wife, to a pineapple, and this like sets his wife off. After the fruit incident, she does not let it go, and she talks about this clementine comparison throughout the entire book. it is almost draining how much this lady talks about this Clementine. And I take back what I said in the last clip, but I am not this far gone. This lady just tallies everything, and she's just so obsessed, and oh my gosh, it was a lot. I don't know what else to say. I read things that I just didn't want to know. I read so many things that like I could have done without reading. I really hope my next book is a change of pace because I need something different. But with that being said, feminine rage I think is here. She gets very frustrated. It definitely touches on rage within a marriage and how she feels like she's putting forth effort and not receiving the same thing. And there is also a little bit of motherhood rage here. My biggest aspect that I think I didn't like about this was how much she hates her children. But besides that, honestly, this could possibly be a 5-star read for me if it was a novella of the last 50-ish pages. If they literally condensed this book, took aspects from it, from here and there, and condensed it with the last 50 pages into a novella that was like 100 pages or less, a 5-star. The ending, phenomenal. I loved how it wrapped up. I honestly wasn't expecting that ending. When I tell you those first 200 pages, it's making this possibly be a 3-star. The ending might boost it to a 4-star. You guys will see. But yeah, I don't know where I land right now. I'm just, whew. It was brutal getting through the first 200 pages. This lady was just really, really hard to, I don't know, like I just feel like I feel like there's so much going on in my own head that I just was like, lady, you're making me very overstimulated and this is just too much. But I am glad to say that I have finished it and it was quite the time, let me tell you. Oh my gosh, you guys, also, sidebar, I almost forgot. So I was talking to some of my friends about the whole Clementine thing, and that's the whole reason I brought it up again. We were laughing about it, and one of them was like, you know, honestly, same. Like, I'd be mad too if they compared me to a Clementine. So we were all like texting our significant others to ask like what they thought we would resemble. And I wanted to mention this because James said pomegranate for me. And I was like, I can't get away from pomegranates in this video. I mean, the cover of Ripe and the pomegranates with that, or the pomegranate with that and all the seeds and all the things throughout that book about a pomegranate that she kept referencing. And then, like, obviously I played into it with eating pomegranate seeds and stuff like that. But then him saying that, though, I was like, that's so odd. I have to mention it because after all the references with pomegranates with that book and now going into this book and it just being mentioned, I just thought it was so funny. But yeah, just ask your significant other what fruit resembles you. We were talking about how we wouldn't want to be a banana. We wouldn't want to be an apple or a pear because they're just basic. But you want like the rare or the different fruit. So I'll take pomegranate. And that leaves me with 2. We have the vegetarian and we have the Stepford Wives. So
she on top of my phone, I'm trying to catch a teeth. My dick on the inside of a gust, I stretch the kitties. Take my mask, I'm trying to taste the pussy if it's sticky. I'm a double clutch, just got these cackles fucking with me. It must fucking freak you. Now bitch, you can see me. Look so fast, I'm late, man. When I spot these pussy niggas talking late, man. Fuck the quite the pussy, I will take a taste, man. Always wanna fuck a rockstar. I've been doing that shit, she asked me if I got a great cock. I said Google it. Fuck a while, I got the
So this is a horrible angle, but I got to parent pickup line early today, and there's cars in front of me, behind me, and to the side of me. So this side is the only side that I have where I don't have anybody staring at me. So, horrible angle, but I wanted to let you guys know I'm getting ready in my car because this has been, here recently, this has been my daily go-to, is getting ready in my car. I am starting the Stepford Wives, so I wanted to check in with you guys. I'm excited to see how it is. I am going to probably read this physically unless I can get an audiobook for it, so I'll have to wait until after I do my makeup, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm just really excited to rewatch the movie. Oh my god, you guys. My acne, like my skin is just like purging right now. It's so bad. But I am here early today, so I thought I'd do my makeup, get some reading done, check in with you guys, let you know how's it going. If I can get this done or read today, then I will probably watch the movie tonight. So I'm really excited, and I will check in with you guys later. Hey guys, a little check-in. I finished the book. Stepford Wives. My first book by Ira Levin. Dare I say it's 5 stars. First of all, I started this the other day and then got busy with another book because I mentally can't handle myself right now and all the books I keep starting, and then I have a readathon, and then I have this video concept where I'm like, ooh, I've got to speed things up on this, I've fallen behind. And anyways, this morning, I picked it back up, and it's such a fast read. I blew through it and finished it completely in this one setting. After reading maybe 10 pages in the first setting, read the rest of it this morning. It's so easy to fly through. The pages in this edition of it, which this is a pretty old edition, you can see it's just like really quick to read. And some pages like barely have any words at all on them. And they're kind of like, not really chapters. There is 3 different parts. It'll just say like 1, and then there's 2, and then 3. The 1 is kind of like your like prologue or intro into the story. 2 is like the main part of the story, and then 3 was kind of like an epilogue moment, which I loved. I actually loved this epilogue so much. I did mark a couple of areas. I'm sure you know, but if you're not aware, Stepford Wives is about this couple who move to Stepford with their 2 kids. They have a boy and a girl. Joanna is the mom's name, Walter is the dad, and they are happily married, happy family. They move in, they buy a house, they're so excited, and they're pretty much have been told like this area is so beautiful and everybody's so nice and welcoming, blah, 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 blah. They live on this road or in this neighborhood, and in the few block radius, there's a bunch of just really successful people. There's like doctors and scientists and engineers and like all kinds of people who work for these different popular companies around that are, I mean, pretty much just like geniuses work there, you know? And upon arrival, Joanna starts realizing that there's really weird things going on. Like 1 second she meets a mom who doesn't really give a damn what people think, and she's going to raise her kids the way she wants, do what she wants. If she doesn't feel like cooking for dinner that night, she's not going to. She doesn't really care, like, if she's in her lounge clothes around the house, or if she's not putting on makeup that day, if she's making herself presentable for her family, if the house is messy, or whatever the case may be. To then have a drastic flip-flop of the next time seeing that said mom and having a spotless house, being all dolled up with makeup and in a dress, and almost like a whole personality shift. And then she's told by another mom, like, there's something going on around here. This has happened before, and you know, I moved here a month before you, like this is gonna happen to me. And like, she's so nervous, and Joanna's like, this woman is like I want her to be my friend, but like at the same time, like this woman needs help. And it's not until that friend, Bobby, all of a sudden flip-flops. It goes from messy Bobby, who never has herself put together, is just a carefree, and now all of a sudden she cares about everything, and she they all have this common ground of saying stuff like, you know, I used to just be so laid back and just selfish and carefree, and, you know, I just realized that I really need to be making my life better, and making my husband happy and my kids happy, and completely avoiding their own self-happiness to be this perfect wife and mother. Like the perfect image. Think like Brie Vandekamp from Desperate Housewives. And one thing that stuck out with me too, and Joanna is starting to figure this all out, is she says, they never stop, these Stepford Wives, she thought. It sounded like the first line of a poem. They never stop, these Stepford Wives. They something all their lives. Work like robots. Yes, that would fit. They work like robots all their lives. She is literally convinced that they are robots and that the men are behind it. There is a couple movies on this. I have never seen, I think the one, was it 1972? I don't think I've seen that one. I've only seen the one with Nicole Kidman. So I do hope to watch them during this video. I don't know when I'm going to get to them, but I'll try to include them in this video and talk to you guys about it. If not, my letterbox is linked down below, so you guys can check out my movie reviews there. But I'm landing at a 5-star with this. I absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to read more from Ira Levin. And if you don't want to be spoiled at all, I feel like I've already said a lot about this. I think it's such a fun experience reading it, and it's such a short read that it does kind of give a lot of it away. So I understand if you kind of want to skip ahead to the next timestamp or whatever. But there is a part later on in the book I wanted to talk about, because this whole time all of this is going on, her husband's been very understanding, and she's like, okay, at a drop of a hat, could we move? And he's like, oh, absolutely, I'll support you, blah, 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 blah. Until she actually wants to move. And then he starts saying things like, well, you know, you could put yourself together more often. Like, you're a beautiful woman. Why don't you put yourself together? And why don't you wear lipstick, you know, some days? Or, you know, just really just off the wall, like, awful things that you wouldn't expect from him towards the beginning of the book. But there's also this part, like, once she's kind of in her feminine rage element, which I loved, and she's talking to these other men. She talks to his wife, and she's like all perfect and prim and proper and whatever. And then she goes up to the husband and she says, you have a lovely wife. Pretty, helpful, submissive to her lord and master. You're a lucky man. And he says, I know, looking downward. She said, this town is full of lucky men. Good night. But just like, I just imagine her being super like snarky with all of them, and even later on some of the stuff that she says to them and stuff is always like so snarky, and it's just like what I crave and love from feminine rage stories. I loved it. It was kind of like a silly horror in a way, like a satire, but at the same time such a deep, meaningful message about women and how they're viewed, and it's so before its time, obviously. But just so good. The elements of having that feminist aspect, but also the feminine rage. I ate it up. I loved it so much. And honestly, a new favorite book.
Do you think at a certain point we all just sink into the ground and are never heard from again? Fuck, your hands are warm. I guess I just never noticed.
I keep wanting the chain, but I keep one for myself. I'll keep wanting your picture, so I'll see you in hell.
Hello, you guys. Since I last left you guys, a lot has happened. For one, we're in spooky season, like full-blown spooky season. I'm going to the pumpkin patch today with one of my little ones for their school field trip. So I'm in full spooky season Halloween mode right now. But also, I've been filming a lot of other stuff, as you guys can see on my channel, since this video. And since the last clip, we've moved. We're in our new house, and things are just completely different. But my last book for this video that I needed to get to was The Vegetarian, and this is by Han Kang, I think is how you pronounce it. But this is a rather short read, but it did take me a little bit. With moving, I've been like pretty strictly audiobooks just so that I can move and pack and unpack and clean and all of that. I didn't have an audiobook for this, so now that we are officially moved in and we do still have some unpacking and stuff to do, but I was able to sit down and get through this one and talk to you guys about it to wrap up this video because it's been quite the time. And honestly, I was triggered going into this one again. So many of these books have been very triggering, and I think it just shows the feminine rage in myself because I just feel for characters so hard, and I just get so mad at these side characters who are just being the absolute worst. And that is where I dive into the vegetarian, because this is about a woman who wakes up one day and says she had a dream and now she is a vegetarian. It's a horror dream. We have very unreliable sources because this never follows her point of view. We have 3 parts. The first part is kind of the introduction, and we have her husband's point of view, who is just god-awful. He is just awful to her. He does not love her. He actually eyeballs her sister all the time, which gross. And he just treats her very poorly, and she's trying to explain to him why she's a vegetarian now, but like it's never good enough for him. And anything she says or does is never good enough for him. Check your warnings, because there is SA and other things that were just so infuriating to read about. But then we jump to part 2, where we followed the girl who's a vegetarian, her sister's husband, so the brother-in-law, who has a thing for her too. And it's so odd and just so weird, but at parts it's sweet because it's almost like he views her better than anybody has, and it's like he almost understands her, but it's just so messed up. Like, it's just, nothing makes sense, and it's just, ugh. And at the same time, we still have an unreliable source that's really going to tell us, why is this lady the way she is? How is this going to wrap up? Like, why are we not getting, why is she a vegetarian? And like, because it's not like the usual, like, I'm a vegetarian because it is like my morals, or like where her morals lie as far as like animals and stuff like that. It's something much deeper and something that we're not getting from this character. And then the third part is the sister's point of view. So like, we never get the point of view of the actual vegetarian. I feel like there was so much stuff just left hanging. And I don't know if that was through translation, because this is a Korean translated to English by Deborah Smith. And it wasn't a bad read. It just, I felt like it left so much hanging. Like, I feel like if there was a 4th part where we got to see her point of view and it all wrapped together, almost like Monstrilio, I would have loved that. But alas, we didn't. And it just left me feeling just icky and weird. And I was just like, I don't understand the full point of this. I get what it was trying to get at, because we get a vague answer. But it just wasn't enough for me. I wanted it to deep dive more into it and explore the actual character that we're talking about. And it just didn't. I think the tough subjects that it did touch on is why I'm landing at a 3. But besides that, this was just a little underwhelming for me. And I don't know, I'm just kind of upset with the read, because I feel like this could have been so good. Anyways, that is a wrap on my female rage, feminine rage, feminism. I've had a good time between reading Carrie recently and then reading all of these books. I had a really good time. We touched on a lot of relationship with female rage. We touched on the workplace and motherhood, so many different things, and I feel like I related with so many characters. There was some I definitely did not relate with, like the lady from my husband. But I had a fun time with it. I hope you guys had a fun time watching. If you have any other ones that have some female rage in them, some unhinged moments, please let me know in the comments. And let me know what you think about these books. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.